It's about deciding to be ready and then making the commitment to follow through, even when you make mistakes, even when you encounter unexpected challenges, even when it feels like you're not always moving as fast as you'd like to be moving. It's about committing to something and then continuing on with it.
Welcome to the Women Choosing Growth podcast, where we bring you practical advice and guidance on how to grow your business and achieve success in your entrepreneurial journey. We feature inspiring stories of success, challenges of growth, and lessons learned from women entrepreneurs, industry experts, and thought leaders who have been through the growing pains inevitable as an entrepreneur. Whether you are just getting started or are looking to scale up your business, our show is designed to provide you with the tools, resources, and community you need to grow your business. Join your host, Tina, a lifelong entrepreneur and business growth advisor, as we explore topics such as marketing, sales, finance, leadership, and personal growth, all tailored specifically to the needs of women entrepreneurs. So if you're ready to grow your business faster and smarter, and learn from the experiences of those who have traveled the growth path before you, then this podcast is for you. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get started.
Welcome back to another episode of Women Choosing Growth. I am your host, Tina Sue, and today we have Caitlin Bacher, and she is the CEO of Scale with Success, a company dedicated to teaching entrepreneurs how to turn an online course into a seven-figure business without wasting time or money. Her company has rapidly grown to over 11 million in revenue over the last few years with no signs of slowing down. You'll hear in our episode that she learned this lesson the hard way after years of being trapped on the launch roller coaster, resulting in nothing but inconsistent revenue, sleepless nights, wondering where her next sale would be coming from. A chance encounter with a friend revealed a completely different approach to selling Caitlin's course, one that allowed her to generate consistent revenue from her course and build the momentum she needed to scale her business with success. Once she made the switch from launching to selling her course on autopilot, she was able to make her first million in 9 short months just by selling one of her online courses. She now teaches this method all over the world to entrepreneurs. If you already have a course or are thinking about adding an online course to your business offering, you will learn a ton from Caitlin. If you have not thought about a course, don't even know the first thing about creating a course, you will also learn a lot from Caitlin. She has many clients she has worked with that have built courses from hobbies you would never expect to be in an online course, skills you would never expect to be in an online course, and these clients are very successful. So let's get this informative and life-changing episode rolling. Welcome back to another episode. I am so pleased to introduce our guest today, CEO of Scale with Success, Caitlin Bacher. Caitlin believes there is more than one right way to build $1 million business. And if launching a course isn't your cup of tea, you don't have to do it. She's with us today to share her expertise in growing your business with online courses and how to do it the right way. Caitlin, so great to have you on our show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Caitlin, before we dive into all of the great expertise, I do want to say that people should follow you. I feel like you're almost famous for me because I've been following you for so long online. And I've even taken some of your own courses to help me building out my course. So this is something I would say just about any business should be listening to, because even if they haven't thought about doing courses, this is definitely something that can amplify their business. And for those people who are doing courses, you are the expert in this industry. So I want to make sure that people understand, regardless of where they're at, they should be listening to the rest of this episode. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
I thought so. Why don't you share a little bit about how you became so great in this space? I'm assuming you had some trials and tribulations of your own figuring out the course world. Tell us how you started Scale with Success.
So I started off as a social media manager, which meant that I was creating content for clients, scheduling that content for clients, and also I did a little bit of community management for them as well. And after I'd been doing that for a while, I got kind of bored with the scheduling and the posting for people. And I thought it would be more fun to kind of work on their strategy. And so I shifted into more of from social media management to social media consultant. And so then I would meet with clients one-on-one, and we would, take them through the process of creating their social media strategy, and then they would implement. And after I did a number of those one-on-one calls, I found that I was taking people through the exact same process over and over again. And so I thought to myself, you know what, this would be really cool if I could make a course. I'd never made a course before, but I thought, you know what, this sounds like fun, right? And so I created my first course, and which was all about, social media marketing. And I remember my very first course that I created, it definitely wasn't fancy at all. I remember the sales page itself was just pretty much a blog post. And then I embedded the little, PayPal link or whatever onto that blog post page. I don't think there were even any images or anything like that. It was just straight copy. And it went really well. And over the years, I tried different things. So I started out with kind of a social media marketing course. It was very general. So it covered all kinds of different social media platforms. And I noticed that inside of that course, the most popular module was the one where I covered Instagram. And so I thought, oh, okay, so people are more interested in Instagram. So then I decided, okay, well, I'm going to create a course that just dives really deep into the ins and outs of Instagram. So I did that. I sold that for a while. And while I was selling that, I started a free Facebook group. And my free Facebook group is really growing. And I was using that free Facebook group to sell my Instagram course. And people started asking me, like, how are you growing your Facebook group? How are you making it profitable? All that kind of thing. And so then I decided, okay, now I'm going to make a course on Facebook groups. And so I created, that very first Facebook group course. And the first time I opened up enrollment for it, it was like a complete flop. Nobody I did make some sales, but it was kind of like it was basically breaking even. And I thought to myself, you know what? This course I know has so much potential. I have missed the mark in marketing it. And so I began to get on the phone with people who didn't buy, not to sell them, but to understand why they felt like this course probably works, but it's not going to work for me because X, Y, or Z. And so I did that for a while. And then I went on to sell that course. And that was the very first course that I ended up making $1 million from. And it was also the course where I stopped doing kind of these big live launches to sell it. And instead, I moved to an evergreen model. And once I moved to that evergreen model, things just like really took off. In the first 9 months of evergreen, that I made my first $1 million. And after that, people were like, well, how are you selling it, evergreen? And so then I ended up creating my main program that I sell right now, and which is helping people how to sell their course consistently without launching.
That is awesome. I love how you had to, live and learn as all entrepreneurs do, and listen to your audience. Speaking of audience, there are some people probably listening that do not have a course and are thinking, is a course right for me? So before we dive into like how to do this the correct way, let's go back to the basics. Like, who are courses good for? What kinds of businesses?
So courses are literally for anyone, whether you have a business or not. And I think that, most people, if they, have an agency or a service-based business, something like that, it's pretty easy for them to take what it is that however they're serving people in a one-on-one capacity, and package that into a program that they can sell in a way that is totally leveraged. And when I say that, what I mean is that you create it once, but you can sell it again and again and again and again. And so it's a really great way to kind of, leverage your time. But we've also had people even outside of like typical, coaching service-based businesses. For example, we had one client who was a housekeeper, and the more houses she cleaned in a day, the more money she would make. So she got really, really fast at cleaning houses. And she ended up, kind of creating this like a method for herself where she would just like, here's the method, and she would just follow it to like turn out clean homes really quickly. And so what she did is she took that system that she developed for herself and she packaged it into a course and marketed it and sold it to busy parents of young kids, right? Because who needs a cleaner house? Who needs a clean house more than a busy parent of a young kid, right?
And
So
quickly.
yes, exactly. So she packaged up what she knew, she put it into a course, and she ended up selling it with our Evergreen model. And she became very successful, hundreds of thousands of dollars per year just from selling. I believe she had 2 different courses that were related to that. And it was just, I love sharing that story because it's such a great example for people who think, well, I don't know if, what I can do can really be put into a course. And I think, she could have told herself, well, anyone can clean a house. Well, it's not that hard. But the truth is, it is hard for a lot of people. And because she had put in the work, put in the hours of figuring out this method that worked really well for herself, she didn't discount the value of that in her head. And she didn't tell herself, well, anyone could do that. She was like, I have something people need to have. And I think that so many of us have skills, expertise, things that we can show others and help them solve big problems that they've tried solving on their own. And frankly, they're struggling and they need some help.
Mm-hmm. I think there's so many things that come to my mind as you share that. I would have never thought that there's a course on how to clean your house efficiently and quickly. So I think that's a great example of whatever your expertise is or your passion that you
Exactly.
want to share with the world.
Mhm.
Think about creating a course if you haven't already, right?
I had one gal who she was a lawyer by day, but she loved calligraphy and she
Okay.
would do like calligraphy as a hobby. So she ended up creating a course all about how to do calligraphy, and her course crossed the $1 million mark. So she was making over $1 million per year from selling that Evergreen course, which actually had nothing to do with her. I mean,
With
she
her
ended up quitting
expertise.
her
Yeah.
job, and I think she retired her husband and all of that. And so it was just like, it was wild, but that was just, a passion.
I love that too. And when we talk about like the $1 million mark, we're talking revenue, which you will see that in groups and in Facebook groups and whatnot. People are always talking about the revenue, and I'm a profit queen, right? Like, let's talk about the bottom line. But really, in these courses, you have time, which is valuable, but then it's just advertising. So $1 million mark and some advertising is a really nice net profit.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the other reasons why some people move to an online course model for their business, is because they're not interested in building out big teams. So what some business owners find is that if they are, whether they have an agency or perhaps like a high ticket service business, in order to scale that, they have to hire, train, and manage big sales teams, right? They have to hire, train, and manage people to actually deliver that product, whether they have a team of coaches or they have a tech team that, creates things for people, whatever that is. And so you can end up with a pretty sizable team. And some people love that. And that's where they want to spend their time. They want to, be in there hiring, training, managing, all of that. And for other people, they're looking for kind of a little bit more of a lifestyle business.
Mhm.
Maybe they're thinking to themselves, well, what can I do to, like, I don't want as many people to manage, right? I would like to kind of run something, and run and build something where I get to be of service to people and where my time is leveraged, but I don't want to be, posting job ads every day on LinkedIn or,
Yeah.
all that kind
Or
of.
on one-on-one calls, right? So
Yeah.
some coaching is like you run into the limit of your own time
Yeah.
because you can only do so much one-on-one stuff. So this is a way to share your expertise, knowledge, hobby, whatever it is, and be consistent. That's the other thing. If you've got a team of 5 people delivering whatever it is your company delivers, those 5 people may not be as consistent. Whereas of course, like
Mhm.
the consumer of that information or that education is getting the same course, the same information for
Yeah.
all of the people. So I love courses for that reason as well.
Yeah.
So we let's take it from the beginning. So someone is thinking, if they don't have a course already, they're like, oh, this is interesting. Like start
Mhm.
thinking about their hobbies. Others are listening in because they have either dabbled in courses or considered courses. Um, what is the beginning step? So like, okay, I love gardening. Let's do a course on gardening, whatever it is. Um, where does one go from there?
Yeah, so the way that our method kind of, some people come to us and they already have a course created, and some people just come to us with an idea for a course.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I've created courses in the past, I actually start by creating the sales and marketing materials, because by going through that process, that helps me then get more clear on what I want to include in the program itself. And then after that, it's really easy to then, whether you want to drip your course out every time, maybe you want to start selling it. And if it's not created yet, you can start, release, just have the first module or so created. And then, like, on a weekly basis, you're just kind of, dripping it out over time.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to kind of figuring out what the course is going to be about, it really, really helps to get outside feedback on that. And the reason why is because so many times we are just too close to our
Mm-hmm.
business. And it's really important that uh, you are solving problems that people are aware that they're actively experiencing. And I think that a lot of times as experts, we're able to see so deeply, and we're able to see some of the root causes um, for someone's pain, but that person that you're marketing to is not aware that they even have these root causes. They are aware of the symptoms, and that is what you need to be speaking to. And so that's why I love kind of starting with the sales and marketing, because it forces you to get clear on, okay, what are those symptoms that people are experiencing? How are those symptoms showing up for them in their daily lives? What are some mistakes that people have made, trying to solve their symptoms for themselves? And I think that piece is something that a lot of people kind of forget about, is that when people are coming to you, chances are they have already worked with a ton of coaches. They've already bought a bunch of courses. They've listened to all the podcasts. They've read all the books. They're well familiar with what's out there. And um, if you are, if you are not clear on exactly what those pain points look like from their point of view, it's going to be very difficult to connect with them. And, again, I see it all the time. People, creating courses and trying to sell these courses, and they're speaking about problems that person that you're speaking to has no clue that they even have those problems. And so it's a waste of time trying to convince someone that they have a problem that
Mm-hmm.
they don't even realize is a problem yet, right? And of course, once they enroll and they join your program, then they'll be able to get inside and, like, learn the root causes and dig deep and all that kind of thing. But uh, when it comes to the sales and marketing piece, you're really speaking to those high level symptoms. And so it's important to start with those and to really understand what are those high level symptoms, so that then when you do end up creating your course, you have those kind of flowing through as well.
That's so valuable. And that makes sense. So as the expert, you know what your potential client needs, but they don't necessarily need it. So they do need it. They just
Yes.
don't recognize it because they're up here being like, I'm busy. I don't realize that I'm busy because I, whatever, don't know how to manage my time or
Yeah.
whatever it is. So, how do you suggest that? Are you suggesting to like start with surveying some of your current clients or people that are in that, ideal client persona? Like, how would you know what those initial pain points are?
Well, I think for a lot of people, they're teaching something that they themselves have experienced and been through. And
Sure.
so I think even by tapping into your own experience, and figuring out, like, for example, the woman who created a course all about how to clean your home quickly, she was tapping into the experiences that she had with those clients, right? With the people's homes that she was able to clean. Like, she knew the areas that would typically get the messiest. She knew the areas that people were always requesting, right? That were saying like, hey, you know what? Like, can you also do the fridge? Because like our fridge is always a mess, or da da da, whatever.
Mhm.
And so I think a lot of times people kind of they overcomplicate and get stuck in a process of researching and validating and like over and over and over, as opposed to being like, okay, what do I know about the people that I've helped, that I've helped before, or what do I know about this from my own experience, the things that I had to overcome in order to get here. What do I know about that? And just start creating content, just start putting it out there. And that, through that action of putting the thing out there, that's when you then get feedback on, oh, this is resonating with people, oh, this one isn't, and on and on. And I have so many people come to me and they're like, well, what do I need to do to be ready to do this? Like, what can I help? Like, is there some magical checklist that where I can just kind of, check off, and then I'll know that success is coming, and it's
The
just like,
$1,000,000. Yeah.
yeah, like, it doesn't happen that way. Like, if there was a checklist like that, I would like to know what it is, because
We'd be selling it.
exactly. And the reality is, from the way that I kind of see the world, is that being ready is a choice. And so anytime you choose to be ready, you're ready, right? That feeling of readiness is a feeling. It comes and goes. You're eating breakfast, you could feel ready by lunchtime. You are telling yourself that you're not ready. And so it's about deciding to be ready and then making the commitment to follow through, even when you make mistakes, even when you encounter unexpected challenges, even when it feels like you're not always moving as fast as you'd like to be moving. It's about committing to something and then continuing on with it.
I like it. I like it. Hey, incredible women entrepreneurs. It's Tina Sue here. I know you're juggling a lot, growing your business, managing family time, and trying to find balance. Deep down, you know you're capable of so much more, but maybe fear or uncertainty is holding you back from achieving that dream business, that dream life that you deserve. That's why I created the Dream Big, Plan Bigger guide, a game changer for your business growth. This isn't just another goal-setting document. It's your personal roadmap to achieving the impossible. Imagine having a clear vision of your biggest dreams, breaking through the barriers that hold you back, and reigniting that passion that fuels your journey. This guide is your roadmap to doing just that without compromising your family time or your personal priorities. You deserve to see your business thrive and still have time for what you love. Let's take this journey together. Download your free Dream Big, Plan Bigger workbook now at tina-sue.com and start making those dreams a reality. Now, let's get back to the show. So get the basics, right? Like know what it is that you want to share, and do some deep thinking on what the problem really is, because that's what the marketing piece is, which is what we
Yeah.
were talking about. That's where the marketing pieces really will hit home to the person reading it and potentially buy your course. But don't sit and spin and try and be all the things, because even if you think you have it all figured out, like this is the winner, it very well could not be as successful as if you just save the months of research and
Yeah. And again, like that for that the course that the Facebook group course that I sold a long time ago, it was when I first opened up enrollment for it, it was not a success. I hadn't nailed the marketing message. And there's a lot of people that would have told me, "Oh, I guess that's the validation. You tried validating your idea and it didn't work. So that means you should choose another topic, like move on, da da da." And I don't believe that. I think that if you have something good, you need to figure out the right way to market it to people. It doesn't, if people don't buy right away, it doesn't mean your idea isn't good. It just means you need to improve the way that you articulate the value of what it is that you're offering
yeah,
people.
and offering to the right audience for
Yeah.
sure. On the right, yeah, hit them where they're needing the thing that you're selling.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, the right, I don't want to say platform because I'm not just talking social media, but get them where they're feeling the biggest need of that,
Yeah.
as part of it too. So you mentioned before that one of your, I don't want to say mistakes, one
Yeah.
of your learning lessons was that you did this big launch.
Mm,
And I know that's not what you teach now.
right.
So can you talk about the difference between the big crescendo of like of a launch versus having this evergreen model?
Yeah. So when it comes to online courses, there are two kind of real popular models, right? There is the launch model and there's the evergreen model. And so launching typically requires, 2 to 3 months of intense list building and content distribution leading up to what people call an open cart. Now, open cart is the period of time when you are allowing people to enroll in your course. And that open cart can last anywhere between 5 days, 7 days. Some people have a 10-day open cart, somewhere in that range. And then once that cart closes, nobody can buy until your next launch, which is maybe 6 months later or a year later,
Yeah.
right? And what many course creators find is that when that launch ends, so does all of the momentum that they've really been working so hard to generate. And it's radio silence until you begin the launch cycle all over again, which is a very high risk way of selling your course, especially for course creators who are making less than $1 million a year, have either a tiny team or no team at all, and a non-existent ads budget, right? And so I
Hmm.
always tell people that if your course is generating less than $1 million a year, the number one thing that you really need to be focused on is how to generate consistent revenue so you can start getting some traction in your business. And with an evergreen model, that allows you to enroll new students into your programs on an ongoing basis, not just once or twice a year, which is great because then it puts you in the position of growing over time. So, you can continue to collect data on what marketing messages are resonating with your audience, which marketing messages need to be refined. You have more opportunities to practice and get better. And
Hmm.
that's a big kind of mindset shift for people, is that when it comes to launching, everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be great because you're not going to sell that thing again until 6 months or a year later. And so it
That's a
has to
long
be
time.
big enough to provide revenue for that bulk of time, right? And so there's a
Hmm.
lot of pressure. But when you're selling with an evergreen model, you're making that, like, you turn it on, but that's just the beginning. And so over time you're able to make tiny tweaks, make improvements, listening to your audience, all of that, to over time improve the effectiveness of your funnel. So it's like the better it gets, the better it gets. And it's kind of like a snowball that is just getting bigger and bigger over time because it's kind of getting some of that momentum.
And I imagine too, you're learning that you've got 6 modules and everyone struggles a module 4 or whatever,
Sure.
lesson 4, whatever you call it, right? So that's where you could
Hmm.
tweak that and make that better. And
Yes.
now you're getting rave reviews because you listened and you don't have to wait 6 months for that.
Yeah.
Another question, time-wise, the launch sounds exhausting, just the way you described it, all of the work to launch and hope that X number of people come in, and I imagine you have stories upon stories of where,
Yeah.
I mean, even yourself, right? You got 2 people that joined in the window. Um, do There's kind of a difference in courses that I've seen. Some that are not personalized at all, you're just taking it on your own pace as the consumer. And then there's courses where there is live interaction with the creator of the course. What's the difference in that other than what the obvious is, right? But I get lots of questions around that, when would you want to have some personal time in there? When does it make sense to have a course just run on its own, literally, so you can make money overnight? How does one decide which is best for them?
So I guess it just depends on uh, like how you, the business owner, want to run things, right? So some people choose to sell a course that is just a straight info product, right? So there's no community, there's no Q&A, anything like that. It's just like, here's access to the content, have at it. And other people choose to sell courses that maybe come with, a weekly Q&A or a monthly Q&A or and some kind of a community or something like that, which allows people to join the course at all different times, to move through the material at their own pace, at a pace that is right for them, not like pre-designed from this launch, like you have X amount of time, da da da. Um, and then as they're going through the material, they can show up to, a Q&A call, ask a question, get their question answered, and move on, right?
Mhm.
And so everyone is kind of different in terms of the business that they're looking to create, the impact that they want to have. And there's plenty of people out there that are making millions of dollars selling a course that is just the straight course, right? It doesn't come with a community or coaching or anything like that. I like to include community and coaching just because I think well, one, I enjoy it, and two, I think it helps me make my own marketing better and better because I get to work with people, answer their questions, see where their pain points are. It helps me make the course better and better because their questions help me then say, oh, I want to add this to the course, or oh, I see where I can improve this or that.
Mhm.
And so I enjoy adding a community or coaching call element. But one of the things that I really love about the Evergreen model in terms of delivering it is that people can go through it at the rate that's right for them. And sometimes life is lifing and people have a lot going on. And, I think I think it is very, I think that real structured way of telling people, okay, now we're dripping out this module for this week and you have X amount of time to do it. And then the next call is going to be on this week. And now you have like X amount, like that doesn't work for a lot of people unless they've literally put their whole life on pause so that they can, you know,
Join the Wednesday call.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I'd imagine that's why people are taking a course versus some kind of other structured method. So I think naturally the consumers of courses are intentionally purchasing a course to
Yes.
do it at their own pace.
Right.
That would be my thought. When it comes to, so we're along the journey. We know that everyone should be doing a course of some sort, and thinking about the problems to solve. And then you mentioned something before about how you can just create, and I know I've heard this in some of your own teachings that I've contributed or participated in, that you don't even have to have the whole thing built out. Can you talk
Right.
a little bit more about how you can do one course and then drip it out
Yeah.
to your audience?
So what's going to happen is, you have an idea for a course. You might have like an outline for a course, but you don't need to have the whole thing created. So when you start selling your course, you can have one lesson or one module created that when people join, they can have immediate access to, right? But in the sales process of your course, you're being clear with people and saying, you know what, you're going to get a new module released each week for X amount of time. So you're being upfront with people and letting them know, hey, this is the way, it's going to be released. And then your drip, then over that week, you're creating the next module and then you're releasing it, right? And by the time you've created the whole thing, whether it's 4 modules or 6 modules or 8, whatever it is, at that point, you then have the course created. And so then you can make a decision as a business owner. Do you want to then give people immediate access to all the content right away when they join? Do you want to continue dripping it out? And have a few more people continue to go through that. And then you're going to be able to figure out, oh, okay, now I'd like to create, like upgrade some of the worksheets that I have for this, or upgrade this video, or, whatever. But it's so much better to do it that way than to put tons of your pressure on yourself to kind of go in this cave and some people spend like months and months creating what they think is a perfect course. And then they put it out there, or they start creating the sales and marketing materials around it. And they're like, oh geez, I have to like change, change some stuff.
Missed the mark.
And it's, it takes a lot of courage to put something out there that isn't perfect. But the reality is, nobody's course is perfect when they first put it out there, right? And I think that a lot of times people are comparing their start to someone else's like middle or end, and they're saying to themselves, oh, like I don't have these fancy videos, or I don't have this like, super branded worksheet or whatever. And so they're wasting time trying to create all of that stuff before they even put it out there. But nobody who was successful did it that way. They all did it just by putting out, okay, here's the rough draft, here we go. And the cool thing about putting out something, especially at the beginning, that doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles, is a lot of times in those first few months of selling it, people are then going to get a lot of access to you, right? Because you don't have yet thousands of students inside of your group. And so it's a really great benefit to the people that are in there. Like sometimes people say to me, well, what do I do, Kate? What if I want to offer a community, but what do I do, when I'm just getting started? And so like 3
You get
people
2 people and you and
totally.
your mom.
Yeah. And that's a valid question. Like we've all been, like I've been there, where you're starting out and you just have a couple. And the reality is that you might be judging yourself for that, but other people are not really judging you for that. They bought your course. They just want your help. They don't
Yeah.
care how many other people are there. And because if you have only 2 or 3 people in there, you're going to be able to give them a really great experience. And I think that, we kind of, live in a culture where it's like, oh, well, it's only 2 or 3 people. So like, you should just scrap the idea and like start something new or whatever. Or I guess it wasn't a validated offer or something. And it's like, you know what? Why not give those 2 or 3 people the experience of their lifetime so that they can become, raving testimonials for you, recommend you to other people. And I think that's a much better way, to look at it.
So I agree 100% on that. I was thinking the testimonials too,
Mhm.
and the give me your accurate feedback. Like, tell me which sections you didn't like, which
Mhm.
ones did you love, which ones did you feel were, like all of that, so that you can make it perfect. When it comes to this startup of building the courses, how do you bill for that? Are you allowing I've seen somewhere like the first 20 people get it for free. I've heard other people like, I'm not giving it away for free because it's so valuable. Um, how are you pricing these? Is there a different pricing strategy? Also, in the same question, I know there's like mini the mini thing where you get somebody to buy something for $30 and before they buy the higher ticket, medium high ticket. What are your thoughts on getting this pricing correct,
So
as
I
correct as possible?
yeah, I think that people should start by creating a signature course. I don't think people should start off selling like a mini offer or something like that. I think actually when you're doing that, you are wasting time because you probably don't have an audience big enough to actually make money from that $30 product.
Yeah.
And whereas if you're selling something that's like $500 or $1,000 or $2,000, you're going to need fewer people to buy in order to meet your revenue goals.
Mhm.
Later on, once you have that like funnel up and running and everything's great, you can always then introduce additional things. Like maybe then at that point you want to have a $30 side thing, or maybe you want to have a higher ticket offer that people, upgrade to. Maybe it's some kind of one-on-one package or who knows what. But it's really important to start with that core signature offer. That is the thing that you're going to be known for. That's the thing that is going to get people excited. Um, and so so I always recommend that people start with that. I don't recommend giving access for free. I know some people teach that, and that's totally fine. But I don't agree with that. I think if you're selling something, then you should sell it. And sell it at a price that feels good to you. Sell it, knowing that later you can always raise the price later on if you want. So don't get too caught up in, like hemming and hawing over like, well, should I charge, $450 or $497 or whatever? Like it's not gonna make a difference. So, again, just get it out there, get some momentum with it. And over time, if you want to increase the price, you can. Or if you're at a good price point and it's like, this is converting really well, like I like the way this is set up, you can just stick with that.
Mhm. I like that. Is there an average price, or like, do you start out at the
There's
450? I've
not
seen some all the way up to like 4 grand.
No, there's not an average price. However, if you're selling something on autopilot, so no sales calls, no, extensive DMs, anything like that, then it is important for your program to be like $3,000 or less. If your program is over 3,000, you're going to have to do some kind of a sales call. Like it's not going to, people are not just, some
Dropping
people might
3 grand.
buy, but yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
you're better off doing sales calls. And so some people come to us and they're like, hey, I'm selling a $5,000 program. Can I use your method with it? And I say, no, you can't sell your $5,000 program, but what we have had clients in the past do is sometimes they take a portion of the content from that $5,000 program and they package that into a $1,000 course or 500 or 2,000 or whatever, something like that. And then later on, they offer the opportunity to then upgrade those clients to their higher ticket offer. That's one way to do it. Another way is to take all the content that's in that higher ticket offer and offer it with a different level of support, right? So maybe
Mhm.
that high ticket offer comes with a ton of one-on-one attention, one-on-one calls with you or something like that. Whereas if you're selling it as a course, maybe it's a weekly group call where you're answering, you're still answering people's questions, but you're leveraging your time and you're doing it in a group format.
Mhm. Okay. That definitely helps. Asked a lot of questions so far. Everything from getting started to the pricing, which is like, to building it to the pricing, which is near the end of that journey. What am I not asking? What else do people need to know?
Mm. I think the biggest thing for people to know um, is that if they want to see how it works, they need to just start. They need to act. They need to just put their thing out there. And there is no way to know if people will or won't buy your course. However, what you do know for sure is that even if they don't buy your course right away, you're going to be improving things over time. So that's fine. Like if they don't buy, if nobody buys right away, then that's just an opportunity for you to, ask people questions, understand, what you need to tweak and change, and to continue to just make little, tweaks and changes over time until you get it performing at the level that you want it to. And so
Mhm.
just because something doesn't work right away doesn't mean it will never work. And I know we all think that. And sometimes I think that even in my head. Like yesterday, I was struggling with my printer. I was like, oh my God, this is never going to work. But guess what? It did. I did have to ask for help. My daughter helped me kind of figure
Of
some
course.
things out. Of course, yeah. You know, uh, but just start. That's how you're gonna know what works and what doesn't.
Okay. I love that. That's good advice. That's perfect advice. Just start.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah. And if people, I know I could spend another hour with you asking the detailed questions, but you have a course yourself that
Mhm.
you help people go through and get the minutia that we couldn't cover in this episode today. How do they reach out to you? What's the first step to like get more of your expertise?
Yeah, so I do have a free training. It's a free masterclass called How to Generate Launch-Sized Revenue Without Launching. So it delves a little bit deeper into this evergreen method that we've been talking about. And so the best way to access that is I have you can go to my website, caitlinbacher.com. If you want to go directly to the masterclass, you can go to caitlinbacher.com/masterclass.
And we'll put that in the show notes as well.
Okay. And the best place to follow
And that's a free program.
Yes, that's free. That's a free training. Yeah, totally
Yep.
free. And the best place to reach me on social media is Instagram. So don't send me any messages on Facebook because they will not be answered.
Or
But I will,
LinkedIn.
yeah, if you ever want to DM me on Instagram, that's totally fine.
Okay. Well, you have your own course then. Like that's how you got started.
Yeah, that's
In the
right.
day.
Yeah,
You know all about Instagram. We
yeah.
will put those links in the show notes so that people can reach out to you. And like I said, I've taken the free masterclass with you too, and I've been following you ever since. So great information. We're in the middle of building out the outline of our course, so it's great
Awesome.
timing to have you on the show as well.
Love it.
Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. The Women Choosing Growth Show is not just another podcast. It's a tribe of women helping each other grow. So please share this podcast with all the women entrepreneurs that you would love to see succeed. If you'd like to know more about customized business advising through Cultivate Advisors, download business tools, or sign up for upcoming events, visit www.WomenChoosingGrowth.com. Once again, that's www.WomenChoosingGrowth.com. Remember, we are in this together. See you on the next one.